Arriving at Union Station.
Today, we're in the heart of downtown Toronto in the financial district, and today we're actually going to be covering Union Station and all the spots all around it from the east to the west side. Right now we're in between Bay and York/University. As we walk around, document some of these spots, you'll get to see everything uncovered in this video.
Right now, I'm actually standing in front of the Fairmont Royal York Hotel, which is right across the street from Union Station. The largest hotel in the British Empire. It's pretty expensive, but I've heard very good reviews about it. The Queen has stayed here, but not to bore you too much on those details. We are gonna go and check out a bunch of these spots, as Behan mentioned before, but there's a little hidden gem, kind of underneath this pathway here. I think it's a 10 stair. It's indoor, and there's a lot of foot traffic. We're gonna start off at the Median Ledge, which is a ledge just in the middle of the road. And then there's a mani pad and a couple other things down that way as well. Let's just jump right into it.
Median Ledge, pretty sick ledge. The only thing about it is, you know, there's a lot of cars here, so you do have to come here when it's not during rush hour. I feel like maybe later in the evening would be better, or on weekends, holidays, things like that would be the best time to come, because otherwise you're in between Yonge Street and York, and you're along Front Street right now, so it gets very busy. I mean, you got people directing traffic and everything. It just gets that hectic. People coming out of the parking lots. The ledge itself is perfect. It's a little bit of a gap in, gap out situation, just over this little curb cut here. There's so many tricks that have gone down that I could think of. I'll start with my favorite, Wade Desarmo's kick front tail front big spin out.
Shoot first, niggas shoot back. Oh, nah, niggas woo back.
That was in his primitive define part. Like I said, it's pretty perfect. There's some little chunks, like for your grinds, I don't know, it might affect you a tiny bit. I could think of Jay Brown. He did 4 really good tricks back to back on this ledge. Back tail 270, front tail 270, back tail backside flip, and then front tail frontside flip on it as well. And they're all back to back, mirroring each other like that. It was super cool. Shout out to the homie Evan Ince. He did a back 5-0 on this ledge. And so did Paul Howard. Harry Brewer did backside nose grind. In Vuja Day, Quinn Lower, he does no slide shove it on it. And then back to back, you got Zach Silver, who did back 180 nose grind 180 out. That was a really sick one. Christopher Kutenbauer, he did front tail kickflip on it. Will Filion, he did frontside tail slide, big flip, or like varial flip out, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you happy. Will also did a sick line, starting with a back tail, and then cruises over to the parking garage and does a wally off the wall over there. Keith Simmons did front tail shove. Evan Hay back blunted it. And Chris Atinas did back blunt big spin out. Matt Roberts did front 180 nose grind. Will Marshall, back tail shove. Neil Blackwood, in his Beware of Dog part, did kick back tail big spin. Bailey Seeger, he had some tricks on this too. No slide nollie heel. He did back tail big flip on it too, which was like in the credits of one of the videos. It wasn't even in his actual part, so he kind of just threw that one away, but that trick's so fucked. Shout out to Bailey. Also one that I really like would be Zach Ferguson's tray flip no slide to fake. TJ Rogers, in his Keep Smiling part, he did switch front tail, 270 kick flip out. Also one of the better tricks to go down on the ledge. Ben Patterson definitely shut this thing down. Front blunt kick flip to regular. And then he also did switch front blunt, switch backside flip out. He also did big spin back tail in All City Showdown. And then he one-upped himself and did big spin back tail backside flip, which also is definitely one of the best tricks to go down on the ledge. Austin Marchand, he did 2 really sick tricks on this one. Front tail, heel flip to regular. Usually you see people do like the heel flip out to fakie, but... And he also did frontside nose blunt shove. And that also brings us to John Koss, who did backside nose blunt, shove the other way. And he also did backside nose blunt, just a regular backside nose blunt in All City Showdown. John Koss also did backside tail slide, kickflip out to regular. He did heel flip, back tail, big spin, and switch heel back tail. That's in his Max Allure part. And he has the ender in that video. He's got to turn pro for those guys soon, seriously. Johnny Purcell did switchback nose blunt.
One trick that I could think of that stood out to me was Adam Banks' nollie heel no slide on this. In order to get that nollie heel, you got to pop over the curb, which is pretty crazy. There is another side to this ledge, which is pretty sick. We have to walk through the median. Hopefully we don't get run over here. Some of the tricks that have gone down on this is Nico Labe and Jaden Bono. Nico did frontside tail slide big spin and then frontside tail slide kick flip out to regular. Jaden did front nose blunt.
Charles also did nose blunt. John did back nose grind 180. Evan Hay did front 180 50-50, 180 out. Morgan switchback 5-0 180.
Will Filion did back nose grind shove.
Bobby did kick back nose grind.
Pretty sick. It's right outside of Union, right over there. Say we're 200 meters east of Union right now, right at Bay Street, so it's right here. While we're over at this section though, if we cross the street, hopefully we don't get run over here again. All right, thank you. If you come over here, we actually have a little plaza, and this is the Brookfield Place. There's a ton of stuff here. There's a little 5-stair with a handrail over here, and then an out ledge over there. This handrail, his Instagram handle is perrier.ca, I believe. He did boneless, I wanna say boneless blunt on this. He did boneless blunt finger flip out, which is fucked. Chris Kutenborough, he did a cool line, back tail shove, and then he back 50'd the rail. And then if you come to the top, there's these ledges. These things are pretty sick. No one really skates them though, reasonably so, because this spot is kind of a bust. But if you come over here, it's kind of hidden away, and you can only really skate it at nighttime. In the wintertime, all these patios and things that are set up right now are actually taken inside for the winter. There's these benches that are usually sitting along the sides of the patio here. Aaron set up a bench right here and just rifled off a bunch of tricks. I think he did back nose grind.
Remove from my dick. Hey yo, listen that, a rapper slaying L.
Kickflip back 50, front shove 50-50. So the benches are actually right here. They're actually really good benches. If you look at them, they're like metal and they're very easy to lift. So if you have 2 people, you can just lift it up and bring it over there.
Yeah, you also have kind of this section that Ryan was saying, you know, the 5-stair area. They're pretty tall blocks, like they're knee height. This little section here didn't used to be blocked off the way it was, so you did have more run up. Dylan Barnes wallied over the 4 to the sidewalk. Noah T's line was sick with the switch tray, and then does a half cab right after, and makes his way into the Brookfield Place, and does a crook bonk on the cap on top of the ledge here.
ICE cold, nice to be old.
Tyler Pearson Mullen did a line as well. He does tray flip on flat and then does a Wally 180 over the ledge to the drop. It's a shame that all these caps are on here too. Even with these little knobs at the bottom too, like they're gonna get in your way of like slides and grinds if you wanna do like ride-on grinds. People do lines, people do singles at this spot where they skate over the block to the drop. Think of Sean Shimada. He has a really sick photo of nollie inward heel over it. And he also switch flipped it in Sounds G. That was sick. Sean Shimada's got the pop. Paul Howarth did a line with a board slide on the small ledge, and then nollie back tail shove after on the ledge over there. And Will did a sick line with a crook bonk, and then does a back tail big spin. Ends it with a fakie tray on flat. Ledge to gap over the 5-stair. And it's gnarly, like not too much has gone down. Kralin does a cool quick footed line over the caps on the ledge. The one that I think would come into everyone's mind the most would be Bobby DeKaiser's backside tail slide. Not only because that's gnarly to begin with, but it's also the thumbnail of his part too. So it's very memorable when you see this spot. It's, you know, on Thrasher, it's got hundreds of thousands of views on it, so you're definitely gonna recognize this spot. Ben Patterson, many years later, he did backtail big spin on it. don't think being on camera right now actually can do that thing justice. Ben Patterson also did crooked grind on it. And he also backsmithed it. Chad Wilson did front nose to fakie. TJ Rogers, he did half cab nose slide to fakie. Underrated trick. It's in his keep smiling part, but it's a quick little half cab nose, but then you're popping out switch, which is actually beast over this 5-stair. And John Cost nollie no slid this thing. And then right across from Median Ledge is this perfect down Manny curb height. And I love this spot. This is one of my favorite spots in the Union Station area for sure. But check this thing out. Like, it's a nice looking down manual with these like granite bricks in it. It looks really dope. The only thing is, it's on Yonge Street, the largest street in the whole country. It does get super busy, especially at, you know, rush hour time, which as you can see right now, like when you land your manual trick, like you do go pretty fast. You're pretty much gonna land right onto that road. And if you were to land on the road right now, you're going right into oncoming traffic. Some of my favorite tricks to go down on this, I'm gonna start with Adam Mancini. He did nollie flip manual, drop down to manual onto the road. But one of my favorites is Imshan Sharif. He did pop shove on, front shove off, which is pretty rad. Imshan also did varial flip Manny 180 out. Noah Tynes, he did backtail to nose Manny. And Adam Reed, switchback 180 nose Manny.
It doesn't look fast, and it doesn't seem like when you go on this, it's gonna be fast, but as soon as you get on it, it starts, like their speed is just, it's instant. It's like a Skate 3 speed boost. Aaron Carpio, he did fakie heel switch Manny on this. Mike McCourt did heel flip Manny.
Jesse Mullins did a line with nollie flip on flat, and then kickflip nose Manny's the pad. Seifa Benson did nollie frontside flip switch Manny down it. TJ Rogers also did nollie frontside flip switch Manny, but he did it in a line. Did the manual trick, landed onto the road, started bombing the hill, did a switch front 360, and then he does a switch flip after on flat ground as well. I kind of did a line as well. I was trying to like kind of mimic that with way less hard of tricks. I did switch 180 manual, frontside 180 out, drop down, did like a little bomb the hill, and then a kickflip on flat, just kind of cruising. That was actually the first clip that I filmed with Ryan Buxton for the OCD video. I also did a kickflip Manny on this in the State Your Name intro. It was just like kind of everybody in the whole video was cruising through the city, hitting spots on their way, gathering together, meeting up, and then on our way to go meet up at CBC, which is just up the street. Ryan Buxton, he did fakie big spin Manny, drop down to Manny to the road. It was actually in the dead of winter and he had to shovel out some snow just to be able to skate the spot. So Canadian winters, they're harsh, and he somehow pulled it off. Scott Power also did that as well.
Riley Medill skated this a little bit differently. Jake Borchenko, filmed by Chris Brown, not to be mistaken by the singer. Jake did switch flip, switch manual.
Like respect in the hood that can't be bought.
Malcolm Yard did fakie heel switch man. Kenny Hunt did nollie shove nose Manny. Daniel Spreel, nollie flip manual. Jake Young, he did pressure flip Manny. Chris Satinas did half cab flip Manny, drop down to Manny. Pat O'Rourke, he did half cab flip Manny, and then 180 off the curb, and then does a switch front shove while bombing the hill. He also did a cool line with a switch front Biggie Manny, but he like nose Manny's up this little piece of wood first. Tyler O'Grady, he did tray flip nose Manny 180.
Cody Brown did back big spin fakie Manny on this.
Donovan Jones, he did nollie flip nose Manny on this. And then Jay Brown did nollie flip nose Manny, drop down to nose Manny. Phil McKnight did 3 really sick tricks in Fistful of Loonies. Front one fakie Manny, switch flip nose Manny, and he also ollied onto the Manny pad and then ollied to the road. And as you can see, the Manny pad is just in the background of us, and right across the street here, you've got this black marble Manny to drop to Manny, which unfortunately is no longer skatable anymore, as you can see by all the caps on it. And it's just outside the Meridian Hall here, which is a theater. One trick that I could think of, which was sick, Chris McMaster filmed Chris Shannon do nollie flip manual, drop down to manual, frontside 180 out.
When they were constructing this architecture right here, this LED sign never used to be here. It was just dirt, it was just empty. And then they added the sign eventually and then added the caps after a couple years. Ryland Shaver, he did front shove, nose manual, drop down, nose manual. Ryan DeRoche skated this, I believe in a Blue Towel Lounge video. It might have been Joe Yates. Gapped this whole thing. Harry Brewer ollied onto the sign here when it was built and then ollied over to the sidewalk. That's most of the tricks that went down here, but if you come into this little section over here, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a drop-in. I want to say I saw some sort of photo of a snowboarder snowing this rail. And then on this side, there's like a more mellow rail. It's obviously still a tall order of a rail. Ben St. Aubin that skated this rail. I want to say they did it 50-50. I think the blind bumps were always here.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
We're going a little bit more east, and it's just on the other side of the Meridian building. Bunch of construction, obviously, so hopefully we dodge some rusty nails, don't get tetanus. This is obviously not skatable anymore, not just because of this, but also because of the wonderful cap jobs. People used to do tricks starting from over here, then come and skate the rail up here, obviously when there was no caps. One of the tricks that comes to mind for this specific rail would be Tyler Pearson Mullins frontside no slide to fakie, also Luke Shearing.
Then there's this massive 12 stair. Nolan Waller, he ollied over the rail in a line. And Nico Lab, he also ollied over the rail. It's capped now, but this rail is beast. Jaden Bono's frontside nose blunt filmed long lens from over there. It is kind of perfect, or at least was kind of perfect back when it was first built. There's this really tall marble ledge though, right at the run up, right at the top of this 12 stair. And there used to be a fence that went along here, or like more like a gate. Cole Hacker, he did a pretty sick line that I was there for. Did a tray flip on flat and then ollied over the gate to 50-50 on this ledge. It's tall, man. Cole's got the pop too. Cole Caravello, I think that's how you say his name. He did a cool line with ollie over the ledge there, left the spot and then cruised over across the street and 180'd over a wall. As we make our way over to now the west side of Union Station spots, hey, if you guys made it this far, consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that good stuff, and let's continue on, look at some more tricks and some more history that's actually gone down in the Union Station area. While we're making our way over there, we should actually talk about Union Station itself. Union Station was built between 1914 and 1927. And like I was saying earlier in the video, it does house all of your transit systems like the TTC. It does have the GO Transit, the Via Rail, which the Via Rail will take you all the way up to Vancouver. It'll also take you all the way to Montreal and Ottawa as well, and then all the stations in between. Then you also have the Up Express, which takes you to Pearson Airport. And it does kind of have like a bit of a resemblance to Grand Central Station, especially when we go inside. Union Station is also the largest of all the great urban train stations in the 20th century. A lot of movies get filmed here, and there's some more spots too, so let's go check them out.
This is another spot. Charles Deschamps on the rail here, he did Ride on 50. Cody French did Crook pop out on that and then popped off to the side, which was pretty sick. I can't really think of anybody else who've skated the top of that. This is the entrance to some of the train platforms, but in the winter, I believe it's on that side actually, in the winter time, people would skate over these mats. And we're gonna make a whole video on that separately. It'll fall under like the whole path winter category.
right, so now we're across the street from where the planetarium is, which is that indoor spot that we're kind of teasing right now, which we'll cover in the wintertime. We actually just made our way right across the street into this kind of middle of the area here. Hell yeah, shout out to her. There's this giant fucking, I mean, come over here. Look how tall this thing is. It's like a glass part that you can go down into Union Station for, but it's so tall, like I could just reach the top of it. I'm about 5'10", so me having to reach this tall, probably say it's about, 7 feet, maybe a little taller than that. You could do a trick rolling down and then ride off it to this big ass fucking drop. The bank up top is like pretty mellow, so you're not fucking cooking down it like that one that Morgan Smith dropped in on an environment. It's not like that one. You do pick up some speed because of how long it is. Cole Hacker, front shove on it in All City Showdown. Recently we just filmed Jeff Cesare, Jeff One Song. Came down to Toronto for the Bunt Jam, and he skated it in a way that no one's ever really skated it before by doing a trick in between. Kind of rides up the bank first, and then comes to a stop and does nollie tray, or like a switch tray, whatever you want to call it, kind of stop. And then he does a kickflip as he's riding down in the middle of it, and then rides off it. And I gotta say, that's the gnarliest thing to go down, just because I've never seen anybody do a 2-trick line up there. Elazar Javar did Impossible on it. That's gnarly, dude. That kid's got great style. Harry Brewer, varial flip on it. That's pretty hesh. Adam Banks did fakie heel flip on it. That might be the scariest trick. I said Jeff had the hardest and most complex trick that you could do, but fakie heel on flat's already a pretty scary trick to begin with. Like, that's such a primo trick. To do it up there, you do a fucking death wish. Shout out to Adam Banks, that's a sick one for sure. There's another sick spot up here. It's like this double stair area, kind of like to a block to 4 stair, and also a gap to out ledge over a rail. And then you also have this gap here too. It's really big, and we'll come to that in just a second, but I do want to get to this spot here. People actually used to skate this in lines. I remember coming here back in the day and skating the 4 stair to the 5 stair in lines, but there's this block to 4 stair as well. Riley Cronin, he actually nollie flipped this. These planters are in the way now. It's also such a bust. There is a security desk literally right behind these doors down that hallway there, so you don't get a lot of time here. But we're also on the run up now for this out ledge. It's gnarly. It's a 3 stair flat up to that curb over there, and you got to gap over this rail to the ledge. John Cost's back tail is my favorite trick. Not only because he just did the back tail, but because he actually landed it and then took a little detour down into that parking garage and then like slappy 50'd the curb and then bombed the hill down it, which was, a good way to skate this thing. Sean St. Jacques, he did board slide to fakie on it. Hill Sulphur did nose grind. Glencoe crooked it. Ben Patterson, he did backsmith on it.
That was so easy.
In Noah T's G-Fab 5 part, Ghetto Fabulous 5. He did switch nose slide on this. That's fucked.
One spot that kind of blocked now, but I can think of a couple tricks that went down on this spot here, was Ben Patterson. He did hard flip and frontside flip on this gap. This thing's not small. It's kind of like a little Carlsbad situation, but like on an angle and over a rail at the same time. So there's tons of run up. Kind of where that bigger gap was, you could start from over there and kind of carve your way in, and yeah, you got run up for days. The ground is actually pretty good too. There's obviously these little cracks, but they're not gonna really bother you too much. The bush has got a lot bigger, that's for sure. So right at this corner here, it's a really big double stair that's no longer there anymore. Honestly, not a lot of people that have skated it. I think of 2 tricks, but let's go check it out and see kind of what it looks like now. It was around this general area. I want to say it was actually right where these like newer looking blocks would have been. But now they've got a restaurant here, they got a Kelly's Landing. It's pretty beast. I can only really think of Ollie that went down on it. And then I can think of John Goss's hard flip. And that was his ender in the Transworld video checkout part. They completely added a whole wall along here. They've got patio dining up at top, so it's completely gone. So yeah, now we've done kind of like a full 360 around the whole area, or I guess I could say a 180, like the whole front end of Union Station going from the east side all the way to the west side and now back in. And the reason we're gonna go back in, there's actually a couple more spots that we're gonna check out, which includes a ledge, and there's also some really good food spots inside the spot too. And to be honest, we're kind of hungry. So before we hit up some food, what I like to call, and I think a lot of people honestly call it this too, we've called it this for as long as I've been coming downtown, is the Noah T ledge. Pretty tall, it's a tall order, man, but it lands right into this bank, and if you're not from Toronto, you know that this bank here was something that you always bombed at the end of every night to go take the train and go home after, so it's a sick spot. I feel like you did switch no slide on it. Just to get onto it, it's a thigh-high ledge, so it's no joke. But that is gonna wrap up the entire video. If you made it this far, hope you'd consider subscribing, hit the like button as well, and leave a comment down below. I respond to every single comment as well. Bit of a longer one in definitely the heart of downtown Toronto over here. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.